There are pastors who unfortunately are not close to their flock. I remember one of you said this. It was you, Anna. Okay. So, okay, it is true. Pastors who are not close to their flock, there is a distance between the flock and the pastor. But the pastor of the people of God is not a state clerk, a public clerk. So either you are a priest, a real pastor, or otherwise you're just a member of the establishment. And then you're not a priest. Priests must be close to their flock. This is the style of God. The style of God is proximity, is closeness with mercy and tenderness. As we said before, you know, we already mentioned tenderness. So if a pastor talks to you from far away, if they don't commit themselves, if they're not getting close, if you see they're all, you know, perfumed and well-dressed, etc., they don't get to your heart. This pastor, you know, instead of attracting people, as the gospel does, as a matter of fact, they surround themselves with people who are conformist. They don't commit themselves. I always ask the pastors to follow the gospel, read the gospel, do like God, be close to your people. Because a pastor who is not close to the people is a pastor who lacks something. They lack something essential. They lack the main elements, because pastors must be in front of their people in order to indicate the way, and they're in the middle, it must be in the middle of the people to feel the smell of their people and to know the concern of their people, and must be behind them to take care about those who are getting lost, and also to lead people to do things on their own, not to manage in a way by following the Holy Spirit. So pastors must be close. They must be in front, in the middle, and behind their people. So thank you for facing this topic, and also thanks to Eric Lean for having spoken about the importance of preaching ecology. So please get close to your pastors. Tell them, we want to be close to you. We need to be with you. And we pastors, we need to be with our people. So we are convinced that we both need one another. I need you and you need me. Santiago, for example, he mentioned the overpopulation of the big cities because of rural migration, because countryside is abandoned, there is no work, so people go to the cities, and a sort of you know, big structure of people around the cities who are often, these people are alone, they don't have people of reference, very often they don't have the minimum to survive. These people often live in an incredible misery, in extreme poverty, like in these favela, in these slums around the city. These people, in their own land, they were very well, they lived well, they had a house, they had something to eat. Now they live very badly. They live as miserable because of this forced migration. So it is a descending curve, the one that we see now. I remember once when I was a bishop in Buenos Aires, somebody told me, you know, there is an empty factory, but it is occupied by some families. So one afternoon I went to visit them. I went there, I went to see, not as a bishop, as a simple priest, you know. So I went there, I said, I am a priest, a Catholic priest, I come to visit you, do you need something, like a baptism for some child, I don't know. Oh, please come in, they said. And this factory was a big group of families. And I saw they had good furniture. So what happened? There were families that little by little, they were you know, their capacity of survival was diminishing, so they were turning into undefined groups. They were all piled up in this abandoned factory. And these are tragedies that we see so often around us. And we see, the causes of migration. You mentioned empathy, brotherhood. That is very good. Empathy, brotherhood, social inclusion. These are the ways to follow. So always remember that the leading thread of all this way is hope. Hope does not deceive. If it is a true hope, it does not deceive. Because hope makes you go ahead. It pushes you ahead. Maybe you don't realize it, but this is the case. There are people that when you see them in action, you see they go ahead really pushed by hope. So thank you for your commitment. Thank you for what you said. And I, as a pastor, I will make an effort in order to be closer to people and serve you in the best possible way. Thank you.
Thank you, Holy Father. I know I speak for our students when we wish we had more time with you, but I do want to echo Anna when we say cor ad cor loquitur, heart to heart. Holy Father, we thank you. Now it's my pleasure and my privilege to introduce my friend, Dr. Felipe Legarreta. Felipe, please welcome to our dialogue, my friend.
Yes, thank you so much, Michael. Thank you, Santo Padre Francisco. Muchísimas gracias por invitar a estos...
Thank you, Francis. Thank you very much for inviting these young university students to the synodal meeting to listen to those who are there, to the periphery of society. Thank you for inviting, and I want to thank you for reminding the importance of hope. The causes of migration, the identification of the causes of migration is not statistics, it is a denunciation, a prophetic denunciation. A strong denunciation interwoven with the stories and the faces of men and women of any age, any race, any belief and social condition. The students, boys and girls, they engage themselves in building bridges of communion and solidarity. They want to take part in the mission of the people of God as agents of reconciliation. Their proposals aim to put at the service of migrants their talents according to their academic specialization or area, and according to the resources that are available in the Jesuit universities of Mexico. So please, Your Holiness, please continue to welcome and accompany the students so that they can listen and respond with enthusiasm and perseverance to the call of Jesus Christ and heal the wounds of our migrant brothers and sisters. Holy Father, now I invite the last two students of our last group to introduce the contributions of their friends from Canada, US, and Mexico. I invite Maria Jose, Gabriela Rubi, Alejas Stokeluna, and Kerry Souza to speak.
Papa Francisco. ¿Qué dice tu corazón, Santo Padre?
Oh, Francis, how is your heart, Holy Father? I greet you in the Maja Tetzal language, which is the language of my ancestors in the forest of Chiapas. I am Maria Jose Ojeda Gonzalez and represent the University of Mexico City. Together our voice invokes the beginning of action and thought. It will be us, young people, who lead us, because our political world leaders only think of their personal interest, even when this means to trigger a war. In the Group of Mexico, we believe that before proposing, we have to recognize that migration has at least three interconnected causes that are present in our history. One of these causes is structural and systemic inequality that exists in society and in the church structures. These inequalities are due to the ethnic or national origin, to the identity, gender identity, social condition, etc. So we are different, but there was an engine of exclusion. There is poverty on the one hand with an unfair distribution of the basic goods, such as access to education, access to healthcare. I think we all have the privilege to be able to have access to these rights, but our brothers, migrant brothers and sisters, do not have the same rights. Why shouldn't they be able to enjoy the common home or take care of the common home? It belongs to everyone, so maybe we forgot this part, we forgot about this need. And another one of these causes, this inequality, is physical violence and also psychological violence, but especially the symbolic violence that was perpetrated by different actors like organized crime, paramilitary groups, even the Mexican governmental institutions. We realize that we were part of a cycle of violence, of stigmatization, as my friend said. In front of that, one of the first proposals we have is to eliminate the stigmatization of the migrants. We must be able to see these people as equal to us, not as the others, not as the enemy, as those who are different than I am. So all institutions should promote and guarantee and support basic human rights. Eliminate stigmatization means to go beyond the walls of our churches, of our universities. What we say must be turned into action. Otherwise, everything we do is worth nothing, because Christ went out. Christ gives us hope. So we must be really a church in pilgrimage. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Jose Ojeda Gonzalez. I am a student of psychology at the Pan American University. And I want first to express our solidarity to the young people of Ukraine for the situation they are living now. And I want to introduce two more proposals that we students propose. First, based on the 4 pillars that as welcome, protect, promote, and integrate migrants, we have to adopt the right strategy, the social policy expressions of Christian life in order to protect these people. So my proposal is to promote attitudes of welcome, of hospitality, through dialogue of peace, where we welcome any person, anyone who must freely choose, who wants to freely choose to be part of a community. And we can do this through concrete actions such as helping people to find a place to live, to help them with bureaucracy. So we have to promote spaces. We as university, we can promote spaces in our university by building centers, for example. So we have two questions and a request. The first question is, what do you expect from university students in relation to the actions in the area of migration to be promoters and actors in favor of human rights and human dignity of migrants? Second question, how can we collaborate as students together with the church in order to generate new ideas, a new way to see migration? How can we transform all of these into political actions? And last but not least, a request. We want you to address 2 appeals. One to the rectors of Jesuit universities of the Americas, so that we can find active and effective forms to respond to the needs of people who migrate, who have economic difficulties, starting from the universities. And also an appeal addressed to students of goodwill. They should not pass at the side of the suffering of people who suffer, who need, especially migrants. So make available to them their needs, their human needs and their skills in order to help people. Thank you very much. Good evening, Holy Father. I am Alexander Sastock. I'm Colombian and represent the Loyola University in Chicago.
I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. Inspired by this verse, I ask you, would you be the one who opens the door for my people? My people are those who try to cross and fight hard, but their dreams were deferred. They pass away with their flags in hand. They had a dream, and their dream is mine. I was fortunate to secure a scholarship to study in the United States. I took a leap of faith. I have to learn a new language. I miss my family and my culture. I have many jobs that I never imagined, such as a butcher, landscaper, construction worker, a nanny, anything to achieve my goal. I even feel that I will never be enough for my Colombian people or for my American people. But I was always blessed with a family who encouraged and support me to succeed. Political instability in the United States almost jeopardized my dream of completing my education at Loyola. In 2020, government left me and thousands of other international students went uncertainty, not knowing if we were going to be deported. My story is the same as many others. There is a lot of frustration with the increasingly toxic narrative that surrounds immigrants and displaced people. We are often described with dehumanizing language. We are in rapers, murderers, drug addicts, drug dealers. We are dreamers, hard workers, people who offer the best to this or any country. We are hopeful by working together as students we can build bridges that should have already been constructed. We want to be part of the love that provides directions, encouragement, and support for others to achieve a good life. So I ask you, would you be the connection of the continent of hope? ¿Podemos hacer lío juntos?
Buenas tardes, Santo Padre. Mi nombre es Katie Sosa y estoy representando la Universidad de Regis.
Good evening. I represent also a university.
You hold the power to those who feel powerless. We can plan to create awareness to let those who identify with us know that we can hear them. We will speak for them, not to minimize them, but to build them up, to broaden the narrative. As a group that has concluded that there is no such American dream, we propose using technological advancements to do a podcast that includes the voices of people everywhere, across borders, facing the decision to migrate, displacement, and assimilation. This will explore works done by everyone, including the latest research, making sure to highlight stories of all. This brings us into our unity of mind and heart. We aren't separate groups of people. We're all human and deserve to be heard with no judgment. We ask for special attention to priestly formation, teaching them the theology and relevant moral principles with clear expectations for the implication of their role. We ask to not close any more churches, as they can be transformed into our homes. We ask for academic leaders to be educated through special training about immigrants and how to aid an undocumented individual. We want awareness from all. We ask for union among those who have high influence. We ask for priests and public figures, artists to correct and broaden the discourse, to highlight that my people aren't to be feared. They're to be heard, understood, and helped. You have issued a challenge. Do not be afraid, do not yield to fear. Many leaders and many institutions respond with fear and close the door on the stranger who seeks shelter, the sons and daughters of our Lord, those who have died with their rosaries in hand. We ask that you help us change these systems and lead the church to be an institution with open doors. Will you walk with us as we express the power of the Spirit and help those who lost their strength trying to grasp onto a lost dream? Thank you.
Muchas gracias, mis queridas estudiantes.
Thank you very much, dear students. Holy Father, I invite you to respond to these concerns of these young people who shared with you their dreams and their vision. Thank you for your words. So I want to begin with the first word of Aleja. You really hit the target. we will have to talk about the migrants, how to talk to the migrants, but we have to think of it. It is something universal. Quoting Matthew 25, I was hungry and you fed me. I was alone and you welcomed me. This is the protocol, a protocol to adopt for everything. So, thank you for mentioning these words. These are simple rules. These are rules to follow every day. And the fact that a girl says that makes me think, thank you, it is a prophecy. And also the narrative, the pejorative, the worsening narrative on migrants. Because there is always this work we have to do. Migrants are always stigmatized. I'm thinking of my land. For example, if I am black, there is always the despise of society. Society in front of the migrant. But that migrant was exploited. They make him pay without paying what is fair to him. So he becomes a victim. He's a victim of inequalities. I think Ruby said that. It's a victim of structural inequalities, he said. You know, poverty, the bad distribution of resources, and physical violence, as well as psychological violence. Because psychological violence, you know, it's like telling you, okay, don't get into this. It is not your business. And this eventually brings to a degradation in people. Also, like very much the fact that you greeted us in the language of your ancestor. So it means you didn't forget about your roots. And it is important to know that you come from there. You know, it is good not to forget about our roots, because these roots became jewels for you. So this fact of taking away the stigma from the migrant who is condemned by all the causes that you mentioned, this is an important point. It is a proposal of a pilgrim church that is not static. It is important because a static church is a museum church. A synodal church instead should not be a closed church that doesn't worry about doesn't care about the life of anyone and that is alien to anyone. No. I remember once in my town, I saw that in a neighborhood for Christmas and for Easter, the priest turned the church into a big table in order to invite all the migrants who didn't know with whom they could celebrate their feast. So that was for me a slap that changed my heart, because I thought, this is the house of God. It is where people feed you, where people take care of you. So open your heart to a church that does not defend herself in the walls. The real church of Jesus Christ. So the temple, the way Jesus used it. And what was the temple used by Jesus? It was the road, a church that goes down in the road. This makes me remember a text of the Revelation that says, I am the door and I knock. If somebody opens to me, I will enter and I will get in. So Jesus sometimes knock at my door almost to get out. No, the church has to get out of the door. This is the synodal aspect that you spoke about. And what do we expect from university students? Okay, so that they go down in the road, that they commit themselves, that they show their face, that they are the consciousness of this sense of instability with which a society tries to fascinate us, like the enchantment of the snake that fascinates us with its false serenity, and we eventually hide everything under the carpet, you know, or it's a drawer. So it is very good what you say, that to destigmatize, to take away the stigma. I like this. It was very good to listen to your words. You were the last one who gave the contribution, and maybe some of the things that I said were good to you, but I assure you that what you told me was very good to me. And I get out of here being different than the way I came in. So you can change others. So thank you very much. Thank you, because your words give us hope and to continue this process. And the meeting with you gives us a possibility to build bridges now and in the future. So thank you, Holy Father, and thank you to all the students who took part in this dialogue. And now to conclude, I give the floor to Ms. Huda, who will conclude this synodal encounter. Thank you very much. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you, Holy Father, for your time, for dedicating us these almost 2 hours. Thanks to all the students, but especially I want to thank, first of all, His Eminence Cardinal Mario Grech, who is the person responsible on this synod, of this path of synodality. So he enabled us to open this dialogue, a synodal dialogue that he has so much at heart, a dialogue with university. Thanks also to Cardinal Wallet, who is president of the commission. Thanks to Cardinal Guerra, thanks to Michael, to Peter. Thanks to all of you for having shared this pathway that brought us to this point.
Thank you, Dr. Kuda, and thank you, Pope Francis. I also want to thank the Dicastery for promoting integral human development and the Congregation for Catholic Education as collaborative partners in this synodal encounter and process. But my deepest thanks goes to all the students. You accepted our invitation without an understanding, but with a great hope. Your aspirations inspire us all, and we pledge to continue supporting your work together. This dialogue, Building Bridges North-South, was just the beginning. It launches the Building Bridges initiative, which has a distinct purpose. It will continue to nurture these student groups as they pursue their projects together. In cooperation with our friends in these Vatican offices and with partnering universities across the world, we will create more connections and in new directions. The initiative will form people for authentic encounter, support their listening and collective discernment, and help them transform their visions into concrete actions of love and justice. The Building Bridges initiative exists to study, promote, and facilitate synodality as a concrete mode of collaboration across all borders. It will lift up and center the voices of those at the peripheries of society, nurture connections among disparate groups, and support the agency of young people to lead us. We invite you all to consider the synodal way, everyone watching. Learn about the process and its applications. Catholic or not, Christian or not, synodality as a method works and can bring together all people of goodwill. If you want to help us in the promotion of synodality, if you want to collaborate with others with the help of this initiative, if you want to follow and participate as this work proceeds, then let us do it together. Caminando juntos. We now turn back to Pope Francis to offer a final blessing for all those who are here and who bear witness to this encounter. Your Holiness.
Y para todos los que dan testimonio de este encuentro.
Pido a Jesús que los bendiga. Pido al Padre que los cuide.
Ask Jesus to bless us. I ask the Holy Father to push us in hope, to bring us ahead. And please don't forget to pray for me. Thank you.